Shapiro crushes atheism question. I have to watch this. Now, I'm not a religious person or an atheist. You could call me a spiritual person. So I might agree with him, I might not. I'm really interested in this answer. Let's watch it out. Let's watch it out. Let's watch it right now.
I've noticed, in my opinion, I feel like you strawman a lot of atheist arguments. And I was wondering, can you give me your actual definition of atheism? Because I saw the conversation you had with Mr. Prager.
Yes.
And could you expand on that a little bit for me?
Sure. I mean, it would be more fun if you'd give me your definition of atheism, and then we could talk about it.
Yeah,
because,
absolutely. So I understand the dictionary definition of atheism is just somebody...
There is no God, yeah.
Right. But I think it's a little bit deeper than that. And out of the many atheists that I've talked to...
Is it deeper than that?
I've never met a single one that says that they have empirical knowledge that God doesn't exist, and I feel like that's the argument that you're making. I could be wrong, I don't mean to misquote.
Well, to me, that was the difference definitionally between agnostics and atheists.
Right.
Right, so if you want to say that, if we want to talk about agnosticism and say maybe God exists, maybe doesn't, but I don't have evidence of it, so I don't believe, that's borderline agnostic atheist, that's fine. I mean, it doesn't really matter. I mean, to my central argument, whether you're an agnostic or an atheist, the bottom line is that without the belief that there is a purpose to the universe, without a belief that there is a purpose to your life, without a belief that you have the capacity to make individual choices, it's very difficult to build a civilization. And by difficult, I mean impossible.
Okay.
Okay, so no, not impossible. For example, we often do things unconsciously, so-called unconsciously. Okay, when I say unconsciously, I mean you're not completely aware of what you're doing. For example, as a dancer, if I'm dancing to music, I'm not always aware of the actual combinations that I'm doing, yet I'm creating art. That's just a little example. You could be doodling and just be in the zone and then not be aware that you're actually creating something that could be sold for thousands of pounds. But in terms of purpose, yes, of course, we need to have a sense of purpose. Of course, we do need to have a sense that we have free will, which is essentially what he's saying. Ultimately, I put it to you that there is no free will, but we do have the belief, the strong belief, and that is necessary, I would agree, that we choose our own decisions.
Note of free will, which is what you're talking about, right?
Yes. I think free will, by the way, is the single most important principle undergirding any civilization. Okay,
absolutely. And to be totally honest with you, I'm torn on the subject myself.
Yeah.
And which is why...
But in your own life, you're not, because you chose to come here and you chose to ask me a question, right?
No, it's not that simple. What, is this the whole crushing thing? No. You chose to do this, you chose to do that. No, hold on. The single thought that arises in the moment, that wasn't chosen before the moment. The thought just appears. Ben's, for example, reply came in the spur of the moment, and then he said it out his mouth. You see, when we say that we are thinking our thoughts, so-called free will, actually what we're talking about is the belief in free will, because it's always the second thought or the third thought that has a strong belief or sense or emotion that I chose the thought. But if you were the one that chooses your thoughts, then you would be able to think of something different than an elephant. I know you just thought of an elephant just there, or you thought of the word elephant. Everything that I'm saying, you absolutely have to translate in some way. And it's the same with so-called thoughts. These non-physical experiences we call thoughts. If we were the ones that actually chose them, then there would have to be some kind of non-physical realm pre the thought existing. So pre your awareness of the thought. In this realm, you'd have to consciously and objectively choose the thought that you want to think. And then the thought would have to arise in your mind. Only then could you say that you literally chose a thought. There were all these thoughts and then you chose a thought to think about. You don't choose a thought to think about. You allow thoughts to arise. You allow thoughts to be. But as I said earlier, having said all this, on a deeper level, free will doesn't exist. But we do have the strong sense, belief that it exists, and we have to have that belief. But it's an illusion. It's the matrix, it's Maya, as they say in Sanskrit. If you were the one that chooses to think, you would never think a negative thought. Nobody'd have depression, nobody'd have anxiety. You just choose the most amazing thought as well, all the time. Why can't you do that? Why can't you just do that? If you are choosing from a selection of thoughts. So that idea, that sort of not arrogant, but that assertion, let's say, that he just had, yeah, but you chose it, you chose. No, that's the thing that is deeper. The whole free will argument isn't so easy to answer, even though I believe I just did. But the same way, if you believe that God exists and God knew everything that you're going to do before he created you and the universe, then again, you have no free will. Because God had already seen the beginning of your decisions as a baby all the way to your last breath. It has already happened for God. Already occurred. And then you are born, which is already a contradiction. And then you choose your thoughts that have already happened in God's realm, in God's mind. So you just think that you're choosing your own thoughts, but God is literally at the end waiting for you to stop, waiting for you to die, basically. And then, of course, as a religious person, you say that God doesn't wait. Again, it's another contradiction. Because how can you say that God, this external entity, knows all things, so has already seen, perceived your last breath, but at the same time, you are also living your own life. And you also say God is outside of time. That would have to mean that God is in a different type of time. Because if God is not here right now, observing each individual action, and God is just seeing it all at once, then there is no such thing as your own individuality, life, free will. I mean, I'm going deep, but it's true. God negates free will. Because nothing existed, apparently. But even when nothing existed, God still knew everything that was going to happen. Going to happen. Going to happen, which means time. I could go on and on.
I would hate to think that the universe randomly imbued you with a set of atoms that showed up here randomly to ask me a question. That would be very disappointing to me.
Oh, but it has to be random from the perspective of God. And first of all, he didn't crush anything. But anyway, it would have to be random. Can you tell that I would like to debate him on this? It would have to be random. Because if it's not random, from God's perspective, if God's not choosing things at random and is therefore choosing things with his will, with his conscious decisions, then again, you have no free will. Because God chose for you to think that God exists. God chose for you to think that it's stupid to be an atheist. God chose for you to think to wear that tie. God chose it. Then how can you possibly have free will if God chose it, if God willed it? And if you're saying, no, God just creates the opportunities, the options for you to choose, but it's not an option from God's perspective. It's only an option from your perspective. Hence, I say it's an illusion. Because God knows what you're going to choose. It's not an option for God. And if you're saying it's an option for God, then God is not all-knowing. That's how you crush someone. Thank you for watching. I'm just joking around, but thank you for watching. Have a wonderful day or evening, as I always say. Please subscribe. I would like to have, some people enjoy or watch, even not enjoy what I watch. It'd be nice to have a little audience here. And take care. Have a wonderful day. My name is Tiger from Tiger Reacts. Peace. Be kind to yourself and others. And God doesn't exist. Sorry. Not in the way that you think he does, Mr. Religious Person.